I'm literally just building based off of the tips I give you. Yo, my people, if you want to learn how to become a better Bloxburg house builder, then you are in the right place. In this video, we're going to be going over house shape and layout for the interior. But in future videos, we'll go over things like roofing and coloring and whatnot. Usually the first thing you worry about when building a house is the house shape. Now, the first tip I'm going to give is something that I will give in every building scenario. Use inspo. You can find build inspo on Pinterest, on Google, from other builders, either on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram. And you can also find houses on a lot of those places too, like real life houses for inspo and whatnot. For example, on this house, I found this as like an actual floor plan on a website somewhere. I think it was on Pinterest originally. And that gave me the shape of like the main house. I kind of added this garage part myself because I had that envisioned. The thing about using inspo is that it helps you to see what can work. And also the more you use inspo, the more you kind of can learn what does work over time. And then you don't even have to use inspo anymore. But if you're like me, I still always use inspo all the time, and that's perfectly okay. And sometimes you get stuck and don't know what to do, and inspo can help you so much. But I didn't make this video just to show you my builds. We're gonna build a house together as I help you learn how to build a good house. Faith said that she struggles with the shape of the build, and she always worries if it's too boxy or if it has too many corners. And one tip that Lil Simsy gives for building in The Sims 4 is to build a box. You start with a box, right? And then you add bump outs to it. So I could add a little bump out over here in the corner of this house. And they don't always have to necessarily be rectangular. Like I could do a bay window bump out like this. And then if I put one over here, that's gonna add to the house as well. And then I don't know, I kind of just feel like doing something like this. I feel like this looks silly right now, but I think we can make it work. And then when it comes to a second story and keeping it not boxy, I know that can be extra difficult. But usually a second story, you want it to be somewhat similar to the first floor, but not exactly. So as you can see, I've almost completely followed the same shape as the bottom, but I left this little square out. I didn't cover that square and I didn't cover this one either. And this is what we get just following those tips so far. So that's our house shape. For now, you might have to kind of envision what this might turn out to be because we're not going to be doing the roofing in this video, right? And I'm just going to show you a little something. This isn't going to be the house we build, but when it comes to making boxy houses, sometimes it's actually okay if you literally just make a box, because the place that a bump out can come is in dormers. And so I just built that, but then if we add in some walls on the second floor and just do like this little thing here, this isn't going to look good because I did make the roof a little too short, but see, you can kind of see how just adding these dormers in here makes all the difference. And like that still looks good even though technically it's a box. And even just adding a bay window on the side like this also adds some more shape so it's not so boxy. But maybe you already know what rooms you want in your house and you just don't know how to make that into a shape. What you can do is just build your house room by room and connect them in the way that you want them connected, and then that kind of gives you the shape, if that makes sense. So instead of first building the exterior walls and then going in later and adding in the interior walls for the layout, you just like build a bedroom, right? And then maybe you know you want like a hallway right here that leads to, I don't know, a living room like this shape or something. And maybe that's also where you enter. But then you know you want to like turn the corner and the kitchen is over here, and maybe that includes the dining room, so you put that there. And then you need a bathroom next to the bedroom, and then there could be a door to the backyard right here at the end of the hallway. That gives you a shape for your house right there. And then you just finish it off all the rest of the way. This tip can be so good for really big houses. I don't usually build big, but the one time I had to for my dream house build, that's exactly what I did because I didn't know how else to go about it that would make it look good. Now that we have the actual shape of our house, let's talk about how to make a good layout. Oh, and yes, I was supposed to have face cam during the first part of the video. My computer crashed and that footage was lost, but thankfully the game footage stayed, so this video lives on. It's.toka.cringe said, I struggle with windows. Like, do I put the windows first or after I design the interior? Something I learned from Vixella, another Sims 4 YouTuber, is to do windows first and then make your layout based on the windows. Right now with this house, I'm kind of going with the flow. I don't have anything that specific specific in mind for how this is gonna look. I'm literally just building based off of the tips I give you. So I'm gonna put windows where it makes sense to me. And actually, I don't know if I'm set on those ones. I think I'm gonna go for more of the factory windows. And this is a little bit hard for me to do because usually I think I would be doing the roof next, but that also might help me with one of the future tips that I'm gonna give in a minute. So this is what I have for windowing. I'm not 100% sure about it at the moment, but that's also part of the building process, is you have to trust the process. A lot of the times you aren't gonna like how it's starting and how it's going, but if you keep pushing, you'll get to a place where you like your build. Trust me. And something I tend to do when it comes to windows is I don't usually place many on the sides of my house, just because usually you don't really need it to look good, and also there's usually already so many windows on the front and back that you need some spaces where there aren't windows, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna give us a front door over here, and I'm putting it kind of high because I think I want to do a bit of a step up into the house. So just a little disclaimer, a lot of my layout tips are going to be from Sid Mac, another, yet again, Sims 4 YouTuber. She put out a video on how to build floor plans and layouts, and a lot of my tips just coincided with hers, or I remember them from watching her video. But my tip again, before you actually even touch the walls that you put on the inside, is you can always use inspo. Real life floor plans can help you. That includes your own house or your apartment where you live, other people's builds, etc. Also, another tip before you actually touch putting walls on the inside, I kind of said this on the house exterior part, know ahead of time what rooms you want in your house. Then again, you can build room by room, and that helps you get your layout, or at the very least, you have a general idea of how big your house should be. And yes, we already built our exterior, our house shape, but the thing is you can always readjust if you realize that your house is too big or too small for what you want inside of it. Because we started with that rectangle, I have some walls in places I don't want them, so I'm gonna get rid of like this wall, for example, and then this one back here. And now that we have that open, I can start with the very first thing you always want to do when you have a multiple story house. You want to put down your stairs first. I'm just gonna keep it simple and do these classic stairs, and that's gonna be pretty close to the entrance, right about there. And I just realized I have another wall I can get rid of right here into that little bump out. That may come back, we don't know yet. Now we can start like blocking off the rooms with walls. So what you want to do is you want to think of just how a normal house is usually laid out. I think we can forget that sometimes, but you know, usually you walk into like a living room or an actual like entryway, like a foyer. And so here I've kind of built this little bump out, so I think that's going to be like its own entryway. So I don't really need walls there. And then it's not too crazy for the living room to be off of the entryway. And then a kitchen and dining room usually wouldn't be too far off from the living room because usually the communal spaces are all in the same area. So I'm gonna knock out this wall because I forgot that that was also there. And because I see this being pretty open concept for the downstairs, I'm just putting this plain quarter fence to mark off where I think the kitchen is gonna be and where the living area will be. But I am gonna wall off this dining area because usually you kind of want it to be a bit more intimate and closed off. And guess what? I am gonna bring this wall back because this can be a bathroom for the downstairs. And sometimes when I'm building a house, I might have it in my mind that I want specific rooms, but then I end up making the house a bit bigger, so I end up being able to add things. So normally this is probably all that I would want on my first floor, but I have a ton of space like around these stairs. So I feel like I can put this hallway to use and maybe put an office in this little area here. And I should have closed this wall behind the stairs too. And there we have the downstairs. We have an entryway, a living room, a kitchen, a dining room, an office, a bit of a hallway, and then a bathroom. Because you don't usually walk into the kitchen, you don't usually walk into a bathroom, and then all the communal areas are usually close together. And then oftentimes on the second floor, away from the communal areas, is where you want the bedrooms because it's away from where all the noise is. If you have any fun features, like for me, I left this big gap here because I'm probably gonna do some kind of balcony. Usually what would make sense is for the balcony to be off of the master bedroom because that's where the parents would be. You know, it's their house, they get all the special stuff. It wouldn't normally be off of like a smaller room that would be for kids, you know what I mean? And this might look a little wonky, but this is the master bedroom shape that I've come up with. I figured it can be kind of a suite and we'll probably include their bathroom. And then we can have a small bedroom here with another small one right beside it. And then we're gonna have a decent long bathroom over here where these two rooms can share. And because I said we were gonna do a bathroom for the master bedroom. It's gonna be a little something like this. I know it's a weird shape, but think about it. You're probably gonna walk in through here and it won't feel as weird. It doesn't feel as much like this is a corner, if that makes sense. And something I did when making each of these rooms was making sure that my spacing was good. You wanna make sure that your rooms are big enough for what they're supposed to hold. If you've built a lot in Bloxburg, you probably already have an idea, but if you don't know, or if that's just something that's tricky for you, then you can always just plop something in. So for me, I know in my master bedroom, I would want a big bed. So I'm just gonna take any double bed and make sure that it fits and that I would still have space for other things I would need. So it turns out that this room is actually a lot smaller than I expected it to be. I've decided that this house is actually too small to be 3 bedrooms. So the master suite is actually gonna incorporate this bedroom, and then this is gonna be the master bathroom. And then this will just be the second bedroom and then the bathroom for it. So now this bed can definitely fit in here, and then you can see how there'd be space for like a dresser and a mirror and all of those things too. Something else that I've done here in making this layout is keeping in mind that communal spaces lead to other rooms. So for example, there's hallways like this one that leads to a bathroom and also to an office, although the door might be over here, I'm not sure yet. You know, but also like the living room would lead to this office if that's where the door is gonna be. And then upstairs, you know, we have another hallway over here that leads to the bedrooms and the bathrooms. And someone else had a comment that said, probably bathrooms are trying to make hallways that actually look good. And that was something that they struggle with when it comes to building. And my tips for hallways are to 1, keep them short. So for instance, this one down here is super short. It's when they get really long, they look really ugly. Like if they're just long and straight, then they're really ugly and also hard to decorate. Another tip I'd have with that is to add some dimension. So up here, you can tell this hallway is not perfectly straight. Like I have this wall that's kind of diagonal. There's this bump here, but you could also do something like this. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this or not, but like you can kind of divide your hallway and then like add an archway or something into it. And then that gives you even more dimension, you know what I mean? And then you can also add something like pillars to give you some more dimension. That just adds more to your hallway to make it not boring. And then Shania Carter said that it's hard for her to imagine the rooms when they aren't square. And this is exactly why bump outs are great. Because for example, with this bump out here, this room can't even be square. Like anything that's attached to this can't be square. And then that has added some different shaping going on in here with this slanted wall and everything. And then with any of these bump outs, I could have gone with any other layout. A lot of my other rooms did end up kind of square and rectangular. But like if this wall wasn't here, this room could have been like more along these lines where it's kind of L-shaped, right? But that's why bump outs are so helpful, because they can add just so much more life to your build, so to speak, inside and out. So now you've done your entire layout, but the question is it any good? First of all, with the house that has more than 2 floors, you need to know if you can get up the stairs. So let's find that out. Oh yes, we got up the stairs, no concussions or anything less. The other way to know whether you've done a good floor plan is to just start furnishing. So in my kitchen, you know, I'd want a fridge. I'm also gonna want a nice stove. And then of course we need some countertops going on. Obviously we would want more stuff in the kitchen, but that kind of shows you kitchen's good, right? And now we're starting the living room. So I put a couch down and we probably want a TV somewhere, but because of the way I have this laid out, we may not be able to do a wall hanging one. So you have to keep that in mind. And so as it's going, it's looking like this is the main living area, but then there's this huge chunk over here. And I know having large spaces that you don't know how to fill is one thing that y'all have brought up to me. Having more space than you need is okay, but I'll explain in another video how to use those spaces well. What you don't want in this process is something that's too small for what you need. So in here, we need a dining table, and I don't know why I'm feeling like this one. And on top of that, we would also need some dining chairs too. And that definitely fits. Again, we kind of have this big gap, but there's something I'm sure that we could do there. And here we have an office. I was kind of thinking about doing the offices where you walk in and like the person sitting at the desk is kind of like facing you, but we have a tight space for that, so that's not gonna work. Another idea I like for this office is to have the desk up by the window, and when we do that, we can see that, you know, this still works for us. Now, if I really desperately wanted what I was talking about before, I would have to make some adjustments. For this bathroom over here, it would just be a half bath, so I would just need a toilet and then a sink, so that definitely fits. And then again, when you're doing a house, you probably want things to kind of be be similar. Like you would normally have the same kind of toilet and also the same sink in your bathrooms. Now in this bathroom on the second floor, I was thinking about having like a little shower tub combo, but as you can see, we have a window there. So one of these already made ones wouldn't work too well unless I decided to change the window. You can also always do a separate tub with like a shower head type of thing, which I don't know if that one works, but we can do this one. And then we can always put like a curtain on that window later, of course. So that bathroom pretty much checks out. And this bedroom's pretty tight, but look at this. We have a bed and we also have a spot for clothes. And an essential for me in every bedroom is like a body length mirror. And I say that one fits. It's a bit of a squeeze, but it works. This bathroom clearly works with everything we want in there. And then we kind of already saw the master bedroom earlier. Now that we have our bare minimum furniture down, let's go see if this layout actually worked out for us. I did put in some lighting just so we could see what's going on. But in this entryway, we don't have anything just because that's all decorative. There's nothing that's like necessary to go here. So not too worried about that. And then we come in and this is going to be our living room. And yes, I think that works out, doesn't it? And then our kitchen. I'm already loving this. Then we have our dining room over here. And that definitely works, I think. And then over here we have our office. That is plenty of space for an office. And then over here we have a bathroom, which is great spacing, I think, for a half bath. And then upstairs, again, we can make it through the hole we have there. And on this side we have that bathroom. Loving it. That feels very spacious for a bathroom. And then over here, this bedroom, which was a bit tight, but it works. And then lastly, we have this master suite, which is pretty spacious now. That's true. We should have a door to go onto a balcony out here, but I guess that can always come later. Oh, and I didn't put a door for the bathroom. Oh my gosh, look at our little counter poking out over there. Whoops. But we're back at it, and this is the master suite and the master bathroom. And yes, this definitely works. Okay, y'all, that is all the tips I have for you all for creating the shape of your house as well as the interior layout. Make sure to look out for future videos and for us to finish this house, and we'll talk about roofing, coloring, having too much space, and some other things that I might not be able to think about right now. I hope you all found this video super helpful. I love you all so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!